everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is a podcast to set off our fourth season of the U.S. Army ESPN Kentucky Game Night on 102.7, streaming ESPN Radio 102.7.com. And on the hotline, we've got one of the greatest coaches in Kentucky. He won't tell you that, but I'll say it. Coach Brandon Smith with the South Warren Spartans. What's up, Coach?
What's going on? Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, man, it's absolutely our pleasure. First interview of the year for us, and then we went with you, man, because, obviously the history that you've already built at a pretty new school when you arrived is second to none. I don't know anybody that parallels it, really. And first of all, going into what season is this for you? Is this like your seventh?
This is my sixth season as a head coach. Yep.
Wow, time flies when you
have quick. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I got James Brown here, my co-host, U.S. Army Game Night, with us on the podcast, and this year we are excited about our schedule. We're going to be coming down to see you, and that's always a good time. But I wanted to talk a little bit with these guys. U.S. Army going to be in the house with us today, and they may chat with you a little bit. But let's start with that Butler game, Coach. What do you know about this team?
They're a pretty talented group. They're a 6A school in Louisville. They had a really good year last year, and they got a few superstars coming back. They've got 3 or 4 kids on their team with some Division I offers. So I mean, we're starting off with a bang. We're gonna find out the first week what we got. So that's going to be pretty exciting.
I guess one of the questions, Coach, this is James Brown, is how do you replace or attempt to replace players like Jacob Lacey and Gavin Spurrier and those guys who have gone on to play elsewhere at the next level? How have you gotten your team together? I mean, you won a state championship, so how have you gotten your team together to try to replace that talent and get these guys that you have now motivated and not kind of go to sleep at the wheel? You guys were considered the best team in the state last year.
Yeah, I know it's kind of a cliche statement, but you really don't replace guys like Jacob or Gavin. I mean, those are just special players. Nobody has special Division I talent. Just rolling through every single year. And we're no exception. So you really just got to make it up. Hope to make up the production by committee. And we're going to be a fairly young team. We're going to start several sophomores, and you really never want to do that, but those guys, are proving themselves that they can handle varsity play, through the preseason so far, and so we're going to roll with it and throw them out there and see what they can do. But it's really, it's got to be done by committee. It's not going to be, one kid making up that production. It's going to have to be, several kids making up that production.
Yeah, so how many of those young guys you mentioned got some playing time last year just because you were so talented and you guys were able to get some good leads and that kind of stuff?
They were freshmen, so we actually had one freshman that started for us last year at linebacker, Luke Burton, and he'll be, we're going to look to him to kind of be an experienced player this year. But we do have our senior class has got 17, 18 guys in it, and a lot of those guys played last year. Our most experienced group will be our offensive line. We really returned just about all of those guys, and then we really got 2 or 3 guys that started on the defensive line. So our linemen should be our leaders and guys that can hopefully carry us through the first part of our schedule until our younger skilled guys get some experience under their belt.
Well, I was going to say, I think that maybe these Army guys want to grill you a little bit and see what you're ready for out there. We have Sergeant Holt and Sergeant Meadows here, and they're recruiters, so they know a little bit about getting guys together and trying to get them on a team. I think. What do you think about the Army situation and whatnot there, Holt? Do you think you could help Coach Smith put together his team a little bit?
Well, one of the things that we do in the Army is obviously the first step is going to basic training, and the the basic purpose of that is to learn how to work as a team. Most of these kids that join the Army never played on a team before or anything like that. And the Army is like the biggest team in the world, so we have to train these kids to be able to basically be picked from one place and dropped right into another and pick right up where they left off, and without any kind of hiccups. So we kind of all work as a team, and that's the whole basis of it. Is everything that we do is all team based. So what kind of stuff do you guys do to kind of solidify yourselves as a team that really like gets you guys to work together and stuff like that?
We actually have several guys that have gone, since I've been here, that have joined the military, one branch or the other. And it's funny you bring that up, is because 3 or 4 of them stopped by the other day and started talking. They started talking about basic training and all of those things, and they all said, we feel like we had an advantage because of football, to where it wasn't as big of a shock to us, and we kind of understood some of that teamwork and leadership concepts that they were trying to instill in us, and we feel like it really helped us out a lot and prepared us for basic training. So, I feel like there's got to be some sort of correlation there.
Absolutely, I agree.
And I'll say this, I can definitely attest, not that I've been through a Brandon Smith 2-a-day grueling summer practice, I have not, but I will tell you this, and it's a sentiment that rolls throughout the high school football community. Nobody out there better at brotherhood and unity than Coach Brandon Smith, and I know he grew up with one heck of a football dad, and I think some of that probably stems from that, Coach, but you do have a knack for having these guys got each other's back, got their six, if you will, Holt.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and I think that's a key aspect, and I think any coach would tell you that. It's that part is really the part that makes a difference. Everybody's got good plays that they draw up, and it's really how well you can work together as a team, and how your guys can overcome adversity and kind of break through that mental barrier to the success that they're going to have on the field.
There's something that will really kind of define a team, because normally when you have to go through something that's extremely hard, but you do it as a group, it kind of brings that group in and makes them a lot more tight too. So that's also part of the whole team aspect of it as well.
Hey, Coach,
absolutely, yeah.
Coach Smith, do you guys have anything specific that you do to try to build that team unity?
We've got something that we do throughout the off season and during the season, and we call them character tests. And that's a team, and it could be anything, but we kind of wait until we feel like they're not feeling it. They're not in one of those days, and then we just kind of put a test in them, see if they can overcome that adversity. And pull together and get themselves out of that that mood, and you got to do that with each other. And so that's just one staple that we consistently do throughout the year.
Coach Brandon Smith, champion Coach Brandon Smith, South Warren Spartans. Good luck this season, my friend. I'm sure we'll be catching up with you down the road here.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Stick around for our next coach, and that's Brandon Smith. Good luck to the Spartans. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Be right back.
The U.S. Army is offering up to $65,000 in student loan reimbursement as a new enlistment incentive. The program is available for nearly 50 different occupations, covering both full-time and part-time careers in the U.S. Army and Army Reserve. The total amount of loan reimbursement varies depending on the length of the individual's enlistment contract. For more information, talk to your local Army recruiter or check us out online at www.goarmy.com.
Welcome back. U.S. Army ESPN Game Night. ESPN 102.7 streaming. ESPN Radio 102.7.com, where we go around to the local high schools set up right by the field, and we interview coaches, players. We've got Players of the Week, Buffalo Wild Wings. We've got all kinds of things throughout the season that are fun to tune into. But right now we got the preseason kickoff podcast. Football starting really, really soon. And in the studio, we're joined with Sergeant Anthony Holt, Sergeant Jacob Meadows, my right-hand man, James Brown, and myself, Brian Webb. We're going to kick this thing off. You just heard from Coach Smith there to get it rolling, and it's fun to sit down with these two guys. Got two awesome recruiters that have served, and thank you both for your service and what you've done for this country, man, and welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having us here.
Hey, I got a quick question, okay? So Holt, you were in infantry, was that right?
I started my career as a combat engineer, and I reclassed to infantry.
Okay, because I know you got the 10th Mountain. I didn't know which patch there you got on your arm. Meadows, what did you start out with?
I started out military police.
Okay.
Shortly after, I reclassed to Cav Scout.
Gotcha.
And that's my primary MOS now is Cav Scout.
So you started out with the career that everybody hates you, right? And then that you decided it'd be better to be like Cav Scout?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Everybody hates the police until they need the police.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. That's the truth.
Yeah, that's exactly the way it works. So Holt, let's start with you though. But how did you decide to move into being a recruiter? Because I mean, you have to volunteer to move into recruiting, right?
Well, it's not exactly how it works. You can volunteer, but so the way that the Army works is that once you get to a certain rank, usually, well, for recruiters, you can be a sergeant, an E5 sergeant, or a staff sergeant.
Real quick, for those who see these symbols, the sergeant, staff sergeant, all that, the sergeant is just the 3 bars on top, right? And then when you move up from that, you get the little loops on the bottom.
They're chevrons and rockers is what they call them. Okay, so you can volunteer as a sergeant to become a recruiter, and the Army considers it a broadening assignment. Mm-hmm. So basically, to make you more, marketable to the rest of the Army, it's supposed to help you enhance your career.
Gotcha.
So there's 2 ways that you can become a recruiter: volunteer, like I said, or the Department of the Army will select from the top 10% of each MOS and choose them for either to become a drill sergeant, maybe an observer controller, or a recruiter like us. And I was chosen by the Department of the Army to become a recruiter. At first, I wasn't really too keen on doing this job.
Yeah.
Just because they get a lot of flack. Everybody says, "Oh, the Army recruiters lie and this and that," but I can assure you that is definitely not part of my job. If I have to lie to somebody to get them to join the Army, then I'm not doing my job right. So, like I said, I was selected, and what I really wanted to do was be a drill sergeant. I thought that a one-way conversation would be a lot easier for me than a two-way conversation. So that's what I wanted to do. But once I've gotten out here and been able to do the job, and I've shared with you guys a little bit about my own story and the way that it's been able to give me the opportunity to help somebody that maybe has come from a similar situation that I have. If I can do that for the arm or for somebody and get them out of a situation, or even just help somebody enhance their lives for the better, maybe point somebody in a direction that they might not have known before, I'll do that all day long before I'll lie to somebody.
Yeah. So, real quick with you, Holt, did you think whenever you were selected, did you think like being a recruiter, you just thought, that's just not me, that's not who I am?
Absolutely. Honestly, like I was telling you, I didn't even really see myself doing a podcast like this.
Yeah.
Just because it's kind of, before it was really nerve-wracking for me to even sit down, like even talk to random people or stand up in front of a group and do public speaking. But once you become passionate about something, I mean, at least for me, there's no stopping me from doing what is going to make me successful. So I want to be, there's only success on my brain. There's no failure. I mean, I don't want to fail at anything. And that's not to say that I haven't failed, because I've failed at a lot of stuff. But what you do, like what I do is, if I fail at something, then I'm going to, take a step back, look at why I failed, and then try to come up with another way to approach the situation to be successful. And I've had to do that several times in this job, you know. So that's pretty much my philosophy. I mean, if I can help somebody, I'm going to help somebody. And if I fail at it, then I'm going to reevaluate it and continue to just drive on. So,
and I guess because you're passionate about you've become passionate about the recruiting side of being in the Army, because you probably feel like the Army's helped you in life a lot.
Tremendously. If it wasn't for the Army, there's no telling where I'd be in life right now.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Meadows? How did you end up being a recruiter?
Very similar story to Sergeant Holt's. I was also DA selected. I had a different career path chosen out for myself initially. But like I said, I got DA selected, had to adjust some fire, change some things around a little bit. But after the first year or so out here, I realized that it's about more than just myself and my career. And what I like most about it is like Sergeant Holt, helping others, and seeing success in the youth. Kids or students or whomever that may be in a bad situation, turning their life around completely. And that's the most rewarding part, is when they come home from basic training and they say, "Hey, Sergeant Meadows, hey, thank you." You know, and that's all it is. Maybe a little handshake. Hey, thank you for helping me out.
Do you get a lot of folks who come back after basic and communicate with you guys, or they just, whether they come visit you physically or not?
Oh, absolutely. And actually physically, I mean, they'll drop by the office and just to say thank you, or see what they can do to help me out. Hey, can I go to a school with you and do a classroom presentation, or by all means. But like my job was to help you and to set you on a path. Because I too, just like Sergeant Holt, I mean, we came from very similar backgrounds, and the Army has guided us in the right direction, since we made the decision to join. So
yeah, I got a funny basic training story for you. All right, because I did go visit my recruiter after I got out of basic training. I got those 10 days or whatever between the one station unit, because I was at Fort Knox with tanks, and going to Fort Hood. And so I went by and told him, and I said, two things. One is, basic training wasn't as bad as you said it was, but my drill sergeant was an idiot. And here was the deal. So, you get the family, they can come visit you, at this little weekend window until my mom comes and visit. And my drill sergeant tells her he's not going to make it. You might as well take him home. So like that's what, he didn't tell me that. He told her that. So then she's like, he doesn't think you're going to make it. And I'm like, I'm going to prove that guy wrong.
Right.
So that guy, that's not what you said. And here's that's exactly what I said. Here's what got me though. So we after you get into your unit training or whatever, you get a little more time. So we started playing pickup basketball, and I kept showing him up. And I think that's really what it was. He was mad because he couldn't get me at basketball. So that's why he told his mom. That's why he told my mom that. That's my theory.
Right. Exactly.
Do you guys look back at your career and see moments probably where you're like, okay, I don't know about this, but something happened that like pushed you on through?
Absolutely. I mean, I can relate just with this recruiting side. I didn't know, if this was the right career move, but this is my chance to give back to the Army. The Army set me on that straight path. So I was like, whatever the Army puts in front of me, I'm going to give it my 100% best effort. And so I dove in head first and took full advantage of this opportunity to help out students and kids and whoever that's interested in the Army or whatever. But definitely this is one of those moments where like I said, it's not just about me, it's about who I can help.
Yeah. What about you, Holt? Have you had a moment in the Army where you've like, I just don't know about this?
Well, maybe not a moment, but like several moments. So
plural.
There's always going to be something. It doesn't matter what job you've had. I've had several even before the Army.
Yeah.
The Army's obviously the longest job that I've ever had because I've been in for the last 12 years. But even working a regular job, you kind of get that feeling like this is. Screw this. I don't even want to be here. And it's just a moment in time, and you just really have to remember, whether it's in the Army or any career, it's a moment in time. This time is going to pass, and yesterday's news, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
That's right.
So I always try to live in the moment, really. And I do like to plan for the future, but, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day or anything like that. And but in the Army, there you have, a series of events that make you say, oh, man, I'm getting out. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just going to go get a regular job. And then, it comes down to it, and you're like, can I really, do I really want to get out? Mm-hmm. And then they're like, hey, if you re-enlist, we'll give you $20,000. And all right. So I'll sign up for 6 more years.
Yeah.
So,
There you go. Well, James had a good, obviously, Army story because he is retired Army. I guess you could call it retired.
Not retired.
You're not out there with
when I went to re-enlist, the re-enlistment officer, I told him what I wanted to do, and this
talked you out of it.
No, he didn't talk me out of it. It was in early 1990. Okay, whenever I went to re-enlist, and I told him I wanted to go to NTC, I wanted to go to Korea, and at that time Berlin was still divided.
Right.
I wanted to do those 3 places. Those 3 places over a 4-year period. Because at that time, I don't know if it's still like this. You could only do Fort Irwin for a year. I guess because it was so much stress or whatever.
Nope, you can be there for 3 years.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so at that time, they would only let you do Fort Irwin for a year, and they'd let you do the DMZ part of Korea for a year. And then
Korea's still a year.
Okay.
Yep.
So he looked at me, he said, I can't promise you that. And I'm like, that's what I want to do, because if I'm going to stay in, I'm not going to. I didn't want to be at Fort Hood, Texas anymore, washing vehicles, off the clay and just driving around on the desert.
Right.
I wanted to go do something.
Well, and even at this point in my career, like I said, I've been in 12 years. At this point, if I got out, this contract doesn't end until 2023. If I got out at that point, I'd just be wasting a whole half of a lifetime. You know what I mean? So might as well just do the whole 20 and get my retirement at 20 years. So.
I don't see Holt wasting anything, by the way. And I wanted to tell my civilian story there, that my tough love story. First of all, I can relate to you. Very, very similar to me, and I've got a dream job, but there's times when
Absolutely.
It's overwhelming, and I just want to just lay down, because it's just, and life will get you that way. But the resilience that you build inside yourself by pushing through that wall, Holt, is similar to basic training, similar to being behind enemy lines. I'm sure. I don't know anything about that, but I know some of you guys that have, and have shared stories with me, but. I guess my civilian tough road would be I moved out to west to Las Vegas, Nevada when I was a young man at 23 or 4, and got out there, thought I was going to have it made, and realized, hey, life's tough, and I've eaten out of trash cans, I've slept in my car, but I persevered through that.
Absolutely.
And look at me now. Look what I get to do. And before I left there, I had built myself up, owned my own valet business. I was the boss, and you know what? Every kid that ever worked for me, none of them even knew I was there. They didn't even know I owned the company because I'm not that guy. And sometimes you can teach and be, it's good to be a leader, but I call it like a cloaked leader. And to be able to do those things without saying, I'm your superior or I'm your boss. I don't like it when somebody pulls the boss card on me, because to me, for everybody to get together and do a good job, everybody's got to be on the same page and want to hold that victory trophy up, whatever it may be, whether it's a flag on an enemy's porch or castle, or whether it's winning a football game or whatever it is. Perseverance, fight through it. You will conquer before it's over, but you can't give up.
Absolutely. And, part of the mantra of the Army is, like we were talking about throughout this podcast, is working as a team. And, I've been a team leader. I've been a squad leader. I've been a platoon sergeant at, over a period of time, in charge. Fire team leaders in charge of about 4 or 5 dudes, squad leaders in charge of the, 2 fire teams, and then the platoon sergeant's in charge of the whole platoon. And one thing to me is that you always have to stay humble. Obviously, you have to, when you're in charge, you have to
be stern.
You have to be in charge. but you cannot ever lose the respect of your team, because if you lose the respect of your team, they're not going to work for you. They're not going to do what needs to be done the way it needs to be done. They're going to half-ass it. They're not going to give you any respect or anything like that. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. There's some, and everybody's different, but I, eat with my Joes. I sleep with my Joes. I'll sleep in a foxhole with my Joes. I don't care, I just want them to know that, if it comes down to it and we're in a fight, I'll be the first one in line to, I'll be the first one in the stack if need be, So, I mean, that's how you show them that you have their best interest at heart, because they're these 17, 18, 19-year-old kids that have never lived away from home. You pretty much, in a sense, become their dad.
You do. I guarantee it.
And I want to be the best father to my own children.
I love it, man.
So why wouldn't I treat these guys with the same respect, So, and as a result of that, I've won every single team-related competition that I've ever participated in the Army. So
I can see that
from anything from physical fitness to tactical. So, but it's all about how you train your guys and treat them. So,
Sergeant, and there's probably some men and women out there right now listening to this that might want to be part of that big team called the United States Army, and they can reach the recruiting center here locally or whatever county they're listening in. But you've got some straight, direct correspondence that they can take. And where are some of the places, emails, websites, where can they go to get more information to where they can get in front of one of you guys?
Well, there's several ways. Mostly, like I have my own phone number that you can reach. It's 615-815-9532. You can find me on Instagram at @SSG_Anthony_Holt, HOLT. And you can also find me on Facebook. Just choose the one that is me and like an Army outfit or, So
It'll be obvious, huh?
Yeah. I keep my personal life and my Army life separate. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
there you go.
That's a good
and
rule of thumb.
I'm trying to figure out Twitter and Snapchat and stuff. I just haven't gotten there yet. I think I have a Snapchat. It's @SSG_Anthony Holt. If you type that in and that's not the right one, I'm sorry. But I know the Instagram is the right one.
Yeah, there you go.
Good Instagram game, Holt.
Yeah.
You got great Instagram game.
Instagram has been kind of a little project of mine. I've kind of been lacking here lately, but we'll get some. I need to get a moderator for my Instagram. That way I don't have to keep up with it.
What about you, Meadows?
This is Sergeant Meadows here. Yeah, I'm sure you can find me all over Sergeant Holt's page as well.
Man crush.
Yeah, something like that. We'll keep that between us, though. No,
I was just kidding, Holt. Seriously.
My Instagram name is SSG_Meadows, MEADOWS. Also, my phone number is included on that or on that platform as well. But a quick thing I wanted to say is back to the leadership piece or whatever. If you have to, go out and say, bark around and say, I'm the boss, I'm the leader here or whatever, then more than likely you're not in charge.
That's right.
And that's kind of what we live by here in the Army. The knowledge piece that's learned and the respect is earned.
That's right.
And those are a couple key things that we like to live by in the Army. But yeah, feel free to stop by our office. We're on 1600 Campbell Lane, in between the McDonald's and the car wash there. Don't hesitate to stop by. Just ask questions if you have any.
That's the Army Career Center, too, not the Armed Forces Career Center.
Army Career Center, huh?
Army Career Center. That's a great place to come in.
Yeah.
Awesome place. I love hanging out there. I like to just stop by and hang out there. That's how cool it is.
You guys are an entertaining bunch of folks. Let me
Oh
tell you.
man, we just love coming over there.
I had flashbacks, and I mean good ones, actually.
I brought out the best flashbacks.
Hey, we appreciate you guys showing us the kind of support that you do. You know, this area of Kentucky is, Kentucky in general is so awesome for military support in general. I've never walked around generally I try not to walk around in uniform outside of work, but with this job, you know, it's kind of a requirement.
Comes with it.
Yes. So, I've never been thanked for my service more in this job, like walking around here, than I have the entire time that I've been in the Army. You'd be surprised at how many times I haven't had to pay for my own lunch just because, you know, there's appreciative folks out there that really give us some good support in this community. And I really do, I truly do feel like I have become a part of this community, and it's been great.
Definitely.
And like I said, we really appreciate you giving us this time to kind of to do all this. So,
well, this community appreciates you guys, and you are part of this community, Anthony. And it's just great seeing you guys out in the public. All of you over there, Tolly, Clemens, a whole crew over there. You can't beat them. They're great fellas. And preseason kickoff here podcast going well, having a lot of fun. But seriously, if you're out there, if you're a young person and you're looking for something to do in your life and you're not quite sure where you're at a crossroads, this is a really, really top-notch option.
And we will be at some of the games for the high school football
You'll be getting in the
games.
trailer some with us, and we got a big game coming up October the 11th. I'm not going to be able to let the cat out of the bag, so to speak, but it's going to be – you're going to want to be at that one, for sure.
I don't know, I don't know if I'll be calling the play-by-play or anything like that. But
Yeah, we kick off our season on Friday, August 23rd.
Scotty Bowl.
At the Scotty Bowl. The next week we'll be at the Warren County Bowl, so we'll get to see quite a few teams. Allen County will be at the Scotty Bowl, along with Glasgow. LaRue County will be at the Scotty Bowl, which is not necessarily in our coverage area, but it's just the county up. And then at the Warren County Bowl, we'll see all the Warren County schools and get to see all those coaches. And it's going to be a lot of fun this year. I'm looking forward to it. We've got some great football teams in this area. We have 2 defending state champions, 4A Franklin Simpson, 5A South Warren.
Yep.
Glasgow is an awfully good football program year in, year out. Logan County, who we talked to, they're good. Allen County is always a solid football program. So lots of good football in this area. You guys will have a lot of fun being there.
Yep, definitely. We're looking forward to the season. So.
Right. Absolutely. You can catch us on Friday nights. You can hear us live, ESPN 102.7 if you're here in the listening area. If you're out of the area and want to tune in, really easy to pop up your smartphone or get on your laptop and listen to us via the ESPN Radio 1027.com website there. You can catch us streaming live. James takes care of all that, gets the info out there. You can find everything you need to know about what's going on and who's coming up, and we just love doing it. James, it's always been fun with you guys. It's been an absolute honor to have the U.S. Army's name as our title sponsor, and same this year, and we look forward to a great season. And I just want to thank you guys for coming in and being part of this podcast that we're rolling today.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
The U.S. Army is offering up to $65,000 in student loan reimbursement as a new enlistment incentive. The program is available for nearly 50 different occupations, covering both full-time and part-time careers in the U.S. Army and Army Reserve. The total amount of loan reimbursement varies depending on the length of the individual's enlistment contract. For more information, talk to your local Army recruiter or check us out online at www.goarmy.com.
Hey, Brian Webb here. Thanks for coming on back to the podcast, opening up the new season, 4th season of the U.S. Army ESPN Kentucky Game Night. High school football is here, and on the hotline, we've got one of the best out there on the gridiron, Commander-in-Chief, Logan County Cougars, turned the program around recently, and it's been exciting to watch. Coach Todd Adler, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man, what's going on, man? Just ready for some football.
Yeah, you me both. I'm ready for all of it. College, high school. I mean, it's just like night before Christmas, you know.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. You're joined by Sergeant Meadows, Sergeant Holt, and James Brown here, and myself, Brian Webb. Thanks for doing the podcast with us, man. Are you excited, other than coming out of the gate with Butler County there, Muhlenberg. I mean, I think if somebody was going to give you a schedule, you would enjoy seeing that pop up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're just excited to get back out there on the field and play. It's the best time of the year. Football begins. You got high school on Friday night, college on Saturday, NFL on Sunday. So best time of year for all of us that love football for sure. But we're looking forward to getting out there and starting the season for sure.
Coach, you just called out the gridiron holy trinity right there.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, so what kind of you always have a great story for us every year, whether it's your kicker or players that you have that join a team or things that happen during the course of a game. What kind of great off-season stories do you have for us this year, you think?
Man, it's still early. I ain't got nothing too crazy happen yet, but I can assure you something will probably.
Yeah.
But no, our kids have been working hard, and they're coming together. We're trying to replace, losing 22 seniors last year, and we got some guys stepping in and filling in the shoes, and they're just trying to soak up as much experience as they can during this off season, and hopefully they can come out there and perform for us on Friday nights.
Coach, usually the mark of a program is that what happens is you get it started and you have a class, and that class kind of sets a tone. And I take it that those 22 seniors that you just lost set a tone for the program. Do you feel like that your younger players have taken on that tone that they've left behind?
For sure. They don't want to let them guys down, and you're exactly right. That senior class that we lost last year has set the tone for our program. Not just for high school, but in middle school and even down to the junior pro level. These guys still look up to them guys that just graduated, and they're doing their best to wear their shoes, if you want to call it that, and they don't want to let anybody down, and they still want to live up to them high standards that we set for everybody. So they're doing a great job. It's going to be a process throughout the year as we continue to get better. And get in shape and all that kind of good stuff. But they're doing a great job of it so far.
Now, you did lose 22 seniors, but you have some key players that are coming back, right?
That's right. We will have a 4-year starter at quarterback in Tyler Ezell. We'll have a 4-year running back starter in Gary Hardy.
Yeah.
We got, Anthony Woodard's going to be starting for us at free safety and wide receiver. He's due to have a huge year for us. Zach Yates will be a 3-year starter at the middle linebacker. We have our slot receiver and Maurice Gordon coming back. Have a lot of skill positions coming back. Right now our biggest question is up front, the guys in the trenches. And we have guys that can play that position or are hungry to play that position. They're just lacking on the experience end, and that's not their fault. They just haven't been presented that opportunity yet. So hopefully they'll take advantage of this opportunity and learn and be a sponge these next couple of weeks as we get the season started.
Yeah, I think Sergeant Holt and Sergeant Meadows know a little bit about building teams and that kind of stuff and trying to get people to transition into probably roles they did not know they were going to have to fill and that kind of thing. What don't you think, Sergeant Holt?
Absolutely. I'm Sergeant Holt. I don't know, you've already introduced me, but I'm actually out there at Logan County. I haven't really gotten to know the athletic program out there, but I hope to kind of get into that this year. But that is one of the strengths of the Army is that we do know how to work as a team. That's what we're trained to do. But like I was telling these guys earlier, we're able to kind of pick up and move from one program to another. I guess that would be kind of the same way as transitioning maybe from high school to college is, the fundamentals are set early on, so you can work well as a team or know how to be a team player when you're younger. That way, that would be something that the next level would be looking at, them team attributes that a player would, bring to the next level. So I think that would be, working as a team is like the key thing to moving on to the college level, maybe.
Yes, sir. I agree 100%. Something we try to do here. We're a small town, and it's a coincidence. I don't guess it's a coincidence, but our ROTC program gets involved with the football program as far as they bring their guys out and heck, even girls out to the games and they have their own little pep section, and they support us, and that's something that we're trying to do here school-wide is you make a team that hey, everybody, whether you play football or not, hey, you're a part of this team, and we need your support. We need you yelling in the stands and everything else. And I think a lot of kids and a lot of administration and teachers have bought into that, and our kids really enjoy that, kind of feed off of that momentum for sure.
Yeah, is there anything specific that you guys do to try to get your team, your players, to gel as a team during the off season?
Man, we have a camp, and we take them to do small things as far as break them down into small groups and take them to 7-on-7s and lineman competitions and weightlifting competitions and just different stuff to where you don't have 60 to 70 kids there, but you have 15 to 20. And you can relate and talk to them guys more in a small group setting and get to know them a little better and kind of have that team bond in a smaller group setting. So, hey, maybe that smaller group will carry on to the whole team and just try to grow that way. And our kids have done a really good job at that as far as going to compete, but also at the same time building camaraderie and teammates and friendships along the way.
Yeah, I guess if a football team is like a battalion, then when you break it down into those parts and you've got like your infantry part of it and you got your tanks part of it and your intelligence part of it and all that kind of stuff, and that's kind of what you're doing is breaking all those units down to get them gelled together so when you put the whole big team back together, the whole battalion works.
That's right. And in a way, that's kind of how we try to operate our program. You know, we break them down into smaller groups and, you know, something that we try to use here and say all the time is, hey, everybody, whether it's the water boy or the starting quarterback, has a job to do, and if you can do your job, then we'll be successful.
High quality,
you know, getting everybody to buy into that is a key part. But once it happens, you know, magic can happen, and I think we've witnessed that over the past couple of years.
That's some high quality H2O, Coach. I got Anthony Holt here going to chat with you.
Water boys and managers are the most important part of the team.
You ain't kidding.
Well, like he was mentioning about you know, the way that it works in the Army. I mean, you were saying that you would like to break them down into smaller groups, maybe 7 to 15 people. Well, you know, that's pretty much the way it works as a regular platoon. I mean, they're broken all the way down into a 4-man fire team. There's usually 2 of those into a squad, and you know, the team just keeps on getting built up from that. You know, you have a couple of squads inside of a platoon, a couple of platoons inside of a company, and then a couple of companies inside of a battalion. So, you know, there's leadership at every single level. That way that there is somebody directing the team all the way down to that 4-man fire team.
That's right. Yeah, and we don't use all of them words because I don't know what some of them mean. But you know, we break them down into skill position and line positions. Yeah. But I mean, it's
the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing, just on a football level. But and that's what we try to do. You know, like I said, we're a small town here, and we try to get the kids to get behind each other. And you know, some of our kids have you know, bad home lives or whatever, and you know, we want to try to take everybody in and not single anybody out, and just make them feel like a brotherhood, a team, a family. And you know, that's what we're all about here for sure.
It takes a lot of cogs in the wheel, Coach, and if everybody's firing on their cylinders, it makes that team better when everybody's playing their position at their highest level. And I know that's what you try to get out of it, and you've been doing that successfully. And we want to wish you another great season down there at Logan County Cougars, buddy.
Well, I appreciate it, man, and thanks for having me on, and looking forward to seeing you guys throughout this year for sure.
No question, and this won't be the last time we got you on for sure.
Definitely, Coach Sergeant Holt again. Hey, I'm looking forward to coming to some of your guys' games out there. Hopefully be able to get involved with your guys' football program, maybe do some weightlifting and stuff like that.
Yes, sir. Break them on. Are you gonna have any kind of impact or be involved in that? I don't even know what they're called, but it's the ROTC battles, I guess.
The Raider competition, yes, we'll be there. They have the Raider competition on the 21st of September this year out there at Logan County.
I went out there last year and actually they asked me to get some drone footage of the event, and ended up wrecking my drone in a tree. But
I remember that. We were there.
Yeah, it was probably one of the coolest things that I've seen. You know, outside of a football game, just because I love football. But watching them guys compete, and even girls compete, doing some of the things that they done. You know, I went back to practice that Monday, and I told my football guys, I said, hey, if y'all ever get in a fight, y'all go find them ROTC guys. Cause they're tough.
Yeah. There's a lot of unseen athleticism in that program. A lot of people don't know about it.
Man. I mean, it was an eye opener for me just to see them guys work and how they worked as a team and all the hard work and efforts that they put into.
Yes.
It was amazing for sure.
Yep. Colonel Triplett and Command Sergeant Major Brockman, they have a great program out there for the junior ROTC out there. They're really squared away and a great leadership team.
For sure. No doubt. I love them guys, man. They do a lot for us, and in return, we try to do a lot for them.
Well, Coach, man, again, thank you so much for your time during the middle of school here, and we really appreciate it, man. But I will tell you this, met many as superstars in my life, athletes and actors, and I tell you, none of them get me any more excited than Tyler Ezell and Gary Hardy, man. I tell you, those two guys, I cannot wait to watch them on the field. They are so much fun to watch, and I bet they're just as much fun to coach.
Yeah, they are, man. They're two great kids, and, I'm going to miss them after they leave, but I'm going to try to soak this time in with them over this next year that I can, and just hopefully we can make some memories that'll last a lifetime for sure.
Absolutely, Coach. Good luck this season.
Hey, thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it, man. All right, folks, right there, podcast still rolling. Got Coach Hood coming up. Allen County-Scottsville. Stick around here. We'll be right back after a message from the U.S. Army.
The U.S. Army is offering up to $65,000 in student loan reimbursement as a new enlistment incentive. The program is available for nearly 50 different occupations, covering both full-time and part-time careers in the U.S. Army and Army Reserve. The total amount of loan reimbursement varies depending on the length of the individual's enlistment contract. For more information, talk to your local Army recruiter or check us out online at www.goarmy.com.
We're on the podcast here. If you're just clicking on and fast forwarded to one of the greatest, Coach Bradley Hood, Allen County-Scottsville Patriots. And Coach, glad to see you back as Commander-in-Chief. I hope you're there for many years because you get the best out of these Patriots, man. What's the summer been like, and are you ready to go?
Summer's been summer. You had some surprises, you had some disappointments, you had some adversity, and but what I see is a bunch of kids fighting for open jobs and trying to improve every day. And I'm really excited about the way our young kids are trying to work up and mature, and I'm excited about our small class of seniors, how they've tried to even up their game and become better leaders for this group. But, each summer brings new challenges, and not to say that we hadn't had our share of challenges this summer, but I feel like that we're overcoming those challenges one day at a time, and we're trying to improve as a football team.
Coach, you guys, what is your off-season anticipation for you guys? Because, you've got some changes in the last couple of seasons. You've lost some quality players and that kind of stuff that you've had to try to fill some positions. You guys didn't have your district change this year, which is unusual because, we had the reclassifications and that kind of things. So what are some of your anticipations for your team this year?
I'm interested to see how some of these juniors that were sophomores last year that got a lot of playing time, how much they've grown and matured and what step forward they're ready to take to lead this football team. I've been excited about that class, and their want to and their ability. We lost some good ones, but I feel like we got some good ones coming in. Trace McIntyre's got a season under his belt now. He's going to be a second-year starter at quarterback for us as a junior. And, generally when I've had quarterbacks come through our system and they've earned they show improvements each year and have done great things for us. So we're hoping that Trace carries on that tradition. Trace is probably the most athletic quarterback I've ever had. He might not be the best at read and run or throwing the ball certain ways, but he's got a knack for making plays athletically when he needs to, and that's something we've been trying to push into him, that we need him to use his athleticism to make things happen for us. I feel like I've got, we've had a great group of receivers come through the last few years, Jacob Lightfoot being a name that a lot of people remember, but I tell you, I think I've got a junior in Jax Cooper that before it's said and done could be one of the best ones to come out of Allen County. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how he grows and how he fits into that role. And I'm just, man, guys, y'all know me. I like the excitement of it. I like to put a lot of pressure on these kids, though, in order for them to succeed. And man, when they do succeed for me, it's a beautiful thing. And we try to have a lot of fun with it and enjoyment with it.
Now, I'd say you guys are pretty well known for generally having a good offensive line, good defensive line, and that kind of thing. How does that look for you this year?
Well, our offensive line is only going to have 2 starters back, but for the first time in several years, we're going to be pretty good size again. We've got a few Hoss kiddies up there this year, and we're going to be. It's hard when you look out there and you see a bunch of skinny butts on the offensive line. You've got to have great form and great feet and great. You get a few wide butts out there, and we got a couple axe handles wide that we're hoping is going to get those big broad bases to move some people out of the way, and if they trip under us and we fall on them, to smash them down a little bit. And but I've been real proud of how hard they've worked. And then defensive line wise, we returned a good group of defensive linemen when you got Jacquez McPeak coming back at the nose and Dylan Rooks still coming back at the free technique. The one thing we have done, though, is Dylan has moved to linebacker this year to try to get him in a position to make more plays. And so we're going to need Jock to really control that line of scrimmage till some of these young guys get in there. And we're going to have to make Dylan's going to have to adjust on the fly for us and go from playing with his hand in his dirt pretty much his whole life to being upright and just 2 feet on the ground. And that we feel like he can do it. We feel like he can add to our defense when he does it. And we just, keep pushing these guys to get the most out of them. We had a little challenge session the other day. I wasn't real happy or excited with the way things were going, and we had a nice little come to Coach Hood meeting, and we talked, just me and the team. I left the coaches out in the middle of the field, and when I released them to go back out, we saw a little more liveliness, and yesterday we come back and had a good practice to follow it up. And, we got to do things the way we do it. And that's what I got to, get through to this team. We're not going to beat anybody athletically very rarely. All right, we got to be tougher, we got to be meaner, and we've got to be more aggressive, and we can't have quit in our hearts. And if there's any doubt that we can't do a job, we got to find somebody else that can come in and do it. And that's the mentality that's built this program, and that's the mentality we've got to keep going. And I think that's the mentality that's going to keep us around and keep us relevant.
Love it.
Coach, you usually when you look at a team schedule, it gives you an indication of what the coach thinks about his team coming up. You must think you have a pretty good team.
Or it gives an indication that how hard it is to get games these days.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because your first
put too much into that. Some of that wasn't by choice, fellas. And I'm catching a lot of crap for that. I mean, we got 4 home games, and I know I cut you guys off, but y'all are used to that with me. We got 4 home games, and everybody's all mad about it. And we've had 4 home games the last several years, and to be honest, getting into a bowl game is a lot easier than to get teams to come to Allen County and play us here. Wow. A lot of the local teams, now we scrimmage South Warren, and we haven't played Bowling Green in a while. The last 2 years we played Bowling Green. They put it on us pretty good, but outside of, people a lot bigger than us, the schools that's moderately close to the size than us in our area that would bring good gates won't play us.
Yeah.
And so, and then, I didn't really want to load up with Bowling Green, South Warren back-to-back as well, just for the, just to get a gate purpose. Mm-hmm. We do want to be able to play against people of our caliber, and so sometimes it gets hard, and we lost the Barron County game, which is 18 minutes down the road and always a big crowd, and because things happen, and I hate it, but we got to fill it with what we got to fill it. And so we filled it with 2 bowl games and 2 trips to Danville.
Yeah.
This year we played Mercer County at Bull, and then we turned around and played Danville at Danville. Next year we play Bull at Bull, and at least Danville pays us the turn here. But, it allows our kids to understand some of the good traditional programs in the state. You know, we opened up with E-Town, who was one play away from being in the semi-state last year in 3A. And they returned. Man, they got one of the fastest kids I've ever seen. They're number 4. That kid could absolutely harness lightning with his hands. He can fly. And, you know, that's going to be a big challenge for us. They like to run the wing T, which we see with Franklin. So, you know, we're hoping that game can help us, you know, with the juggernaut that Franklin's become with that offense. So, you know, it's not always intentional. You know, no, I'm not going to usually shy away. I'll put our kids up against anybody, you know, but sometimes I wish I could make it a little more home friendly. I would love to have 5 or 6 playoff games, but like I told these boys, or 5 or 6 home games, but like I told these boys, we've got 4 on the schedule. We need to do well enough in district to make sure we can get another one. And that's something we failed to do in several years, and that's going to be a big goal for us this year, is to try to return home in November.
Yeah, Sergeant Holt here knows a little bit about building teams and getting players and people put together in such a way that they can accomplish things and be put up against anybody. Isn't that right, Sergeant Holt?
Oh, that's right. So one of the main things in the Army is, you know, we got to, you know, pretty much live, eat, sleep, work together, and got to find ways to, you know, build camaraderie with one another. You pretty much got to have everybody as your best friend on your team. You know what I mean? Because you really can't work together if you can't get along together. You know, we win as a team, we lose as a team, you know, and that really is what kind of makes us stronger as a brotherhood or sisterhood. You know, we had to respect each other, and, you know, respecting each other kind of, and, you know, the football team, just like the Army, you know, those are relationships that you're going to build for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know, they basically, you know, the people that you play football with or serve in the Army with or any other team sport, they become your family. You know, so you're always trying to build that team and build that camaraderie. So what are some of the things that you guys kind of do to try to build camaraderie with your guys' team?
You know, we do a lot of stuff just trying to bring that family in. And, you know, and this year when we were going to camp for a couple of nights, one of the things we've started doing the last couple of years is kind of giving our team a nickname or maybe a little call sign to go by. And I'm a history buff, so when they come to me, they wanted this year our rally cry to be Bob, you know, and Band of Brothers. And
that's awesome.
You know, so then we led into a big history lesson, which it kind of got me all fired up to really give them the meaning of what the Band of Brothers was and the time period and kind of how they, you know, it was, you know, important to those guys. You do your job, so hopefully the guy next to you survives.
Absolutely.
And you depend on him to do his job, so you survive. And sometimes that things are going to be, you know, misplaced. Sometimes things are going to get crazy, but how you rally around to one another is going to be huge. And so we talk about that a lot. So now I'm in the process of getting just some simple old Patriot T-shirts printed up with just B period, O period, B period on the back.
Hey, I'd like to get one of those T-shirts.
I will do my best. You let me know what size you need, and we get them in. I'll pull one aside for you.
Awesome.
But, you know, and it's just, and they really didn't know the whole meaning of Band of Brothers, you know, and what it stood for with the military, but that was something they come up with, so then we tried to use it and spin it. But we, you know, we do a lot of stuff. We have Patriot Church on Wednesday night. We have pregame FCA huddle. We're always, you know, I'm always looking for new ways to try to get my boys to come together. And something that I tell them a lot of times, you might not always like each other, and that's okay. We're going to have disagreements. We're going to, in practice, we're going to be getting after each other's butt on a daily basis. We might get heated occasionally, but you have to love and respect each other. And when we walk on that field together, we have to do it as one. Right. And, you know, if you have some kind of disposition or hatred in you, you're going to let somebody down. And so, you know, even though the day before you might have gotten a big fight with that big offensive tackle in practice competing, that next day you got to be brothers with him again. You got to love that guy because you doing his job is going to be big on him doing his.
Coach, unbelievable, man. Always a pleasure having you. I got one last question, unless these guys got one more they want to ask you. But Speaking of family, I wondered if you could video the next Hood family reunion football game, because we'd like to put that on YouTube.
Well,
or Thanksgiving.
It's funny. One of mine won't play football, but he's the one that gets out in the yard with me all the time, wanting to throw and kick and catch. And my other one plays football, but he's the one that you have to almost, beat with whipping rocks to get out there to do the extra things. But we occasionally we're getting there. They're getting to be 8 and 9 years old. One's about to turn 10, and I'm getting a little rougher with my spears in the backyard. I'm keep tackling. And, we throw a little forearm shiver every now and then. Mommy gets in on the action. She's not near as big as the Hood boys or me, but she's got a little toughness to her. Not got real good hands, though, so she's more of a blocker. But, we have a lot of fun at my house when it comes to playing sports, to hanging out, to going fishing, to the all-assault air hockey tables at bedtime that Mommy really loves. And we introduced Monopoly this summer. We introduced Monopoly, and I told them before they sit down, boys, you're going to cry when Daddy owns all these hotels. Go on and go to bed. And so, that, we kind of have some wars, but they're getting there. They're getting a little more competitive, and I try not to be too rough on them. I want them to enjoy sports, so I'm not super hardcore on them yet. But now when they challenge Dad, then I have to step up my game and bring it for them.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Coach, this is Sergeant Holt. I'm actually one of the recruiters out at your school.
Yes, sir.
And I was the one who asked for the T-shirt. I'm a size large. So
okay.
No, I just want to be able to
one
wear,
arm's a large.
Hey, I just want to be able to show some patriot pride whenever I'm out there in the school.
Right.
That's why I want to.
Sergeant Holt, that's great, man. The next time you're down here, make sure you look me up. And by the way, we appreciate everything that you and your brothers do for our country. And man, I just the freedoms you give us, man, they're well respected in my book.
You have no idea how much we appreciate the
support.
Yeah, appreciate the support.
Yes,
Great
sir.
stuff.
Yes, sir. And now, it wasn't that long ago, about 7 or 8 years ago, I had some recruiters come down and run a little spring combat training for my team. And I would love to get something like that going again.
Yeah, we could definitely sit down and kind of hash out a program, like maybe a summer camp or a spring camp.
Yeah.
Just some team
they were
building
carrying
exercises.
artillery buckets and all kinds of stuff. They were crying, throwing up.
Hey, that's what we like to see.
It was a great day, and there was a couple female soldiers was down too, and boy, every time some of them boys would look over at them females, and they would get their butts kicked by them, and crying a little bit. And I think I even had to intervene a little bit because I did think a couple of them. But boy, that was a great thing, and I miss doing that. So I would love to.
We'll definitely have to sit down and hash something like that out.
Yeah, that's top notch right there, getting them ready. Coach Hood, listen, congratulations on the start of another season there at Allen County, and always a pleasure having you on U.S. Army and all of our ESPN stations.
Hey guys, I love to talk, and I love to sell my program and my kids, and I appreciate you guys for what you do for the area of athletes in this area, and the way you reach out to a lot of different schools, and the way you cover us, and we appreciate it. Anything you ever need from me, I'm a phone call away.
All right, thanks, Coach.
We appreciate that. They're all big stars to us, including yourself, and thanks for doing the podcast, man. Check out Allen County-Scottsville as they open the season with E-Town there. We'll be right back on the podcast with Sergeant Holt and Sergeant Meadows. James Brown, Brian Webb here. Don't go anywhere. ESPN 102.7.